And just like that, we're at the June state of the game for Terraria. Where has the time gone? At any rate, as I said, we're at the state of the game post for June 2020, and I'll cut right to it. Loki on the official forums wrote, "Greetings Terrarians, since we last left you, the hotfixes have been rolling out, with more to come, along with some special surprises coming your way a bit later on. Things have been heating up, literally speaking, with the outside weather, as well as for those fortunate enough to survive their encounter with the Torch God. All that said, let's dive into the latest and greatest across the board." And with that, they begin with the PC update, which is of course being done by Relogic itself, and for that he wrote, "Happy summer everyone. The PC development team has been hard at work on the series of post-launch hotfixes. Hopefully these have improved your Journey's End experience. It's that time of year, of course. The Steam Summer Sale is here. From today until July the 9th at 10 a.m. Pacific, Terraria, Terraria 4 packs, and the Terraria soundtrack are all 50% off. If you held off picking up Terraria during the Journey's End launch, or you have a friend or 50 that didn't, there's no better time to delve into the world of Terraria. Clicking the Steam Summer Sale banner above will take you to our Steam page where you can get or gift your copy today." And I'll add to that Steam, according to their numbers, has Terraria as one of the top sellers as of at least earlier this afternoon. So pretty amazing the game of this age is still selling in the top 10. I guess it has to do with just the quality of the game and of course the lower price point, which even without a sale is pretty cheap. Anyway, they carried on. They wrote, "Terraria is also very proud to be part of the new Steam Points program on Steam. With this latest edition from Valve, you can earn Steam Points by buying games and redeeming those points for cool items that you can display on your profile, like our two animated friends below. Anything you pick up in the Point Shop is yours to keep, and the Point Shop is a permanent year-round addition to Steam. These are beyond cool, and they would make a fantastic addition to any Terrarian's Steam profile." And they show these two animations, which I have to say are at least vaguely reminiscent of the kind of art you see in the game Hollow Knight, which, although it's difficult if you've never played Hollow Knight, I'm sure many of you have, but if you haven't, you could do a lot worse than trying it out. If you like Terraria, you might like Hollow Knight. And like Terraria, it's actually quite cheap. But moving on, there's some other unexpected news in this June State of the Game update. Specifically, their announcement that the Terraria Otherworld soundtrack released today on Steam. And for that they wrote, "Starting today, we are releasing the long-demanded Terraria Otherworld soundtrack on Steam. Composed by Jeff Broadbent and Jonathan Van Den Windgarden, I hope I pronounced that correctly, and featuring musical performances by Tina Glow, Jeff Ball, and Frank Klepacki." Is that the Command & Conquer guy? Anyway, the Terraria Otherworld soundtrack is 25 tracks of awesome ear candy and a glimpse into what might have been. Sad that they have to say what might have been. I'd pay probably a few bucks for this if they just released it as is. But anyway, they shared this image. And if you're curious, I'll link to the official post, which includes the full track listing. And there are a lot to choose from. I think they said, 25 tracks? 25 tracks, yeah. So again, click the link if you're curious. But moving on, they talk about hotfixes, of course, for Journey's End. And as regards hotfixes, they wrote, "Be sure that you are up to date with the latest and greatest on this front via the hotfix changelog. And keep your bug reports coming via the handy bug report button below." And again, the link to the official post for June State of the Game will take you to that link if you're curious. Additionally, they wrote, sure fixes, but what else are we working on right now? Well, besides the awesomeness that is the Torch God, we are starting to dip our toes into elements of the 1.4.1 update. As a reminder, this will contain the Vanity Contest winners and a handful of other fun things that we either didn't quite get into 1.4 or ideas that came to mind coming out of that launch. No spoilers to give you just yet, or a time frame, but wanted to share that work has begun in earnest on this in parallel to the ongoing fixes. So that's good. There's yet more content. Sure, not a mega patch like 1.4, but I'll take what I can get at this point. And then moving on to the consoles, there was some console news. They wrote, as we briefly mentioned in various locations in the past, there are a handful of quality of life issues that have existed on console that we wanted to rectify once we got all of the 1.3.5 content launched. These are things that are not technically bugs per se, but that would improve the experience of players once addressed. What all does this entail? Well, they showed this, and I think you can figure out that they're introducing password-protected multiplayer games. All you have to do is set a password, share it with people you want to join, and hopefully, people you don't want to join won't be able to join. They also shared this image, which is some advanced Gamepad settings, and they say that you can adjust sensitivity for both dead zone and overall sensitivity. You can now tailor the speed of your cursor to how you want to play. And they also added that map data on multiplayer sessions should now be persistent across sessions versus resetting each session, subject to data storage limits. And so there are a few little tweaks here and there on the console editions that if you've been holding out for them, well, your wait is over because they're making these changes. So that's certainly a good thing. They add that this update will also contain a solid set of miscellaneous bug fixes, from smaller visual things to some more edge case impactful items, as we ensure console is in a great place before the leap to 1.4. So evidently you're going to have a quality of life improvement if you're playing on console a little bit before you get all of that 1.4 content. And then moving on to the hybrid console, the Nintendo Switch, which as you probably know is kind of on a slightly different development cycle to the Xbox and PS4 versions of the game. For that, they wrote, last time we spoke, Terraria 1.3.5 had just launched for Nintendo Switch. We hope that you have thoroughly enjoyed all of this new and amazing content over the last month. Of course, within that, we've been carefully watching your bug reports, or for your bug reports. We're happy to report that we should have a fixed wave inbound soon that will address some of the more widespread issues that you have noted to us since 1.3.5 released. These include, but are not limited to, enemies making their proper on-hit and death sounds, bubbles no longer being invisible, underworld freezing, handful of multiplayer desync issues, and of course performance improvements. And they say that as with Xbox One and PS4, we really want to be sure that the Nintendo Switch version has the fixes it needs and is in a good place before tackling what's next. So it sounds like for all of these console editions, they really want to get squared away with the 1.3.5 level content and that sort of thing before they really make the jump to the Journey's End edition. That's not all they wrote. With the header What About 1.4, Lucky wrote, we are hoping to be able to share more about the plans for Terraria 1.4 on console and Switch in the July state of the game. So sorry folks, you gotta wait another month. He carried on by saying, we are absolutely planning to bring Journey's End to these platforms, since we have seen some rumors stating otherwise. But we know you want the juicy details about what might happen when. Cannot necessarily promise that perfect level of detail next time, but we hope to be able to give some general ideas into the path ahead. So there you go. I guess we just have to be patient and see what we see next month. When it comes to split screen, Loki wrote, split screen has been one of those nagging issues since launch of Terraria on Nintendo Switch. To get everyone on the same page, the feature does actually exist on the development side. However, it is just subject to some rather impactful performance issues, particularly in high action sequences when both players are on screen at the same time, such as a Martian Madness invasion in an arena with late game weaponry. The debate has always been centered around what would be good enough performance for this feature. Adding to that, as content continued to be layered on, the risk of getting into a fixed broken cycle was a real concern. To be sure, attempts to improve the split screen performance have been made over time, with some marked gains, but the performance standards has still not been met. Okay, so that was the rationale. What's the plan? We've said that we wanted to address the split screen issues in a post 1.3.5 era, which we are in now. Split screen will be addressed in parallel during Journey's End development cycle. We will leave no stone unturned in this quest, and we can only ask for your continued patience as we try to stand up this overdue feature for everyone. So, sounds like Pipeworks is really hard at work trying to figure out optimizations for this. I hope they get it, because I'm sure, being a Switch owner myself, I'm sure it's important to a lot of Switch players. But anyway, on to the main course here, I guess for many people, the mobile update for Terraria. And here's what they had to say for the June State of the Game for mobile users. Hello everyone. So we know that you enjoyed our little reveal last month. We did too. As we said then, there remains a lot to get done in order to get the entirety of 1.3.1 through 1.4 pulled together for you. Currently, we are at a place where a lot of the new features are in and at least partially functional, while others are still waiting in the wings. We are making huge strides, and we are happy to share a little bit of that progress below. And they shared this video, which is a sneak preview of mobile Terraria 1.4 in action. And those of you with eagle eyes will probably notice a few other things that maybe not everyone will notice, but of course they're playing in journey mode here, which, if you're aware, gives you kind of developer level powers over the game, things like changing the day-night cycle and enemy spawn rates and that sort of thing. But this is evidently their working build for Terraria 1.4, so it's not just a fantasy. Evidently it's at least somewhat realized on the development side, and that's really all there is to see about it, but I think we can all agree that it's nice to see it up and running. Anyway, as far as that video goes, they said still no update on exact timing. A lot of that will come down to iterations between DR Studios and Relogic on user interface design elements, and there are a lot of them, as well as the massive ton of testing that will be needed on both sides. Seriously, it's going to be a lot to check over between 1.3 and 1.4. We hope this little sneak peek has kept you satiated for now. More to come along our own path to Journey's End. So I guess mobile users are really on their own separate journey to the 1.4 promised land. At least it's a working build, and it looks like, no matter whether on mobile or on console, or I suppose hybrid console, they are making substantial progress. And so I don't think this is going to be like the long wait for the last big update for mobile. It looks like they're really moving forward quite rapidly, all things considered. So we'll just have to wait and see what's in the update next month. But it's nice of them to show the video and maybe give us some impression of just how far along they are in the development. It looks very much like it could be out by the end of the year, as we expect. So fingers crossed, right? Anyway, the rest of the June State of the Game update was much of what you would expect. A lot of community updates. Whether that's of interest to you, I'll defer to you guys. I'll certainly include the link, as I said, so if you want to read more about it. It's a little detailed, so have at it if you want. There's some good community art, other community updates, that sort of thing. So it's there if you're curious. They've also congratulated a user named Quartz for being an epic Terrarian on the Terraria Discord server. Apparently Quartz is the first to make this. If you're curious about this and what it entails, again, just click the link in the video description. It'll take you to the official post and you can read more about it if you're curious. And that's it. Kind of the summer doldrums, I suppose, but there's some good stuff in there. The Steam sale, certainly if you don't have a PC edition of Terraria, this is a good time to get it. It's not really going to get any cheaper than this. And it looks like all versions of Terraria are going to see improvements over the next few weeks. They might just be quality of life improvements and hotfixes, but improvements all the same, and it's part of the march. It's one of the things they need to get done before they implement 1.4. So that's just the road we're going to have to take, I suppose. Anyway, I appreciate all of you watching if you're still listening to me ramble on at this point. And if there's news, I'll report on it. So thanks again, everyone, for watching. I hope you all stay healthy, and hope you have a good summer, all things considered. I know it's crazy out there. Anyway, until next time, thanks again.